Welcome to the Dysfunction Junkies podcast. We may not have seen it all, but we've seen enough. And now, here are your hosts, Chrisy and Kerry.
Hello, Junkies. I'm Kerry.
And I'm Chrisy.
So today's episode, I don't know what to think of it, but we're going to be talking about grief today. As you all know, my mom passed away at the end of April. You know, I thought I had my shit together with her dying. I really did, because, she had been sick for a while. There had been, a slow decline. And to me, it was like, I almost felt like I had experienced the death of my mother way before she passed away, because who she was as a person had changed over the years. And so the mom that I have the good memories of, the relationship and everything, that ended so long ago. But these last couple years was more, it was a new stage. So I really thought I was prepared. But then, so she passed away April 22nd. I found that by July, I was down the dumps and I was really struggling. And then it hit me. I was actually finally dealing with this grief. So we thought we would talk about this today, and hopefully we'll be able to find some humor in it to help relieve this. And but Chrisy had some interesting takes on grief as well. So what do you want to add for right now?
I think with grief, initially, everybody connects that with the loss of a person or a relationship, I guess. And there's a grieving process to that. But you also can grieve things with lost opportunities that you realize that you won't maybe be able to have if you have friends or family that maybe encounters different health problems, people with disabilities, things like that, where you kind of initially go into a relationship or go with a family member with all of these ideas of what their life and your life with them is going to look like.
Yeah.
And then when you get some sort of stone in the road or in your shoe, however you want to say it, and you realize that it's not going to be the picture that you had in your mind to whatever level. It could be something very minimal or it could be something big, There is a grieving process for that too. And going back to when you said that you had thought that you kind of were going through the grieving process probably early on, even before your mom had passed away.
Right.
Because she was declining. And you just, you're aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Where this is going.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, you had some time removed from when she passed where you kind of felt your feelings were raw again, almost as if it had just happened.
Yeah.
And it probably took you back. You're like,
it did.
How was I walking around with this? And all of a sudden it surfaced.
Yes.
I had an experience. My father's been gone since '08. And it was probably in the last couple years. And it struck me very odd. And it came out of nowhere.
Yes.
Because I generally like to keep myself, anybody, not just me, everybody, you feel like your feelings and you're in some kind of control and you have some sort of an idea of how you react to things. But we were watching our wedding video.
Aww.
Probably when it was our 30th anniversary. So this is probably how long ago it was, because we pulled it out and we were watching it. And when you've been married so long, or anybody, I guess it doesn't matter how long you're married, you watch some of these things and you start looking at all these people in these videos and you're like, gone.
Oh.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Well, there was one point in the video where, because we had a videographer doing the video and they would go around and ask people questions or have them talk to the camera to give us messages.
Right.
And there was a point where actually I think it might have been when my father was walking me down the aisle. I don't even know that I heard his voice, although his voice is on that video. Yeah. But all of a sudden it came out of nowhere. I completely lost all composure and cried like a baby. Yep. And it's not like I haven't looked at pictures of him since then or anything, but I just don't know what triggered it in me. And that grief and that pain it was short-lived. Yeah. But it came on hard.
And that's what happened to me. So, when my mom was in that final week and then the month after her passing, there was so much that I had to do. There was so much that I was the primary person. I was doing all the paper and all the legalities, and then I was dealing with a lot of dynamics within the family. So I think for me, what it was is I was in survival mode. And I was in walls up, and compartmentalizing my emotions. And I really thought I was prepared for my mom's passing because, again, we had been preparing for this for the past couple years, Right. And so then, so that was at the end of April. So in June, things were just about winding down. All of my responsibilities were pretty much done. Things were pretty much where I could, that stage has all those responsibilities have passed. We went on vacation. We were in Jamaica, got there on a Saturday, and I'm trying to think if it was Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. So we get there Saturday. Monday, I wake up and I'm feeling weepy, emotional. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the heck is this about? But I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just finally, my body's shutting, like going in relax mode. And I'm kind of coming down off of this months and months of defensive mode. So we were going to go to dinner or lunch. And so we all walked over to this little hut at the resort where we were going to have this fabulous lunch. And I just remember I sat down and it hit me like that. And it hit me hard. And I just got up and said, I can't do this. And I went back to the room and I bawled my eyes out for like hours. And our friends we were with and my husband obviously were completely understanding. And I kind of knew like if I was going to finally feel something, it would be about then because again, was in a safe space, was with my friends and my husband and I was away from everything. But it lasted for all the next day, which I felt bad because that was our 20th anniversary. And even the butlers, like at one point they wanted to do something in the room, but I was like comatose in the bed, just not wanting to be anything part of the world. So they shut all the doors and they like put all this, decorations and stuff in the room. It was the next day that I finally was like, okay, I got to pull my bootstraps up and get myself going again. But really June and July and August, it hit hard and It just was disabling. And I was not expecting that.
Right.
Not at all. So.
Yeah, no, I'm sure not. I mean, it's sort of, that's the one thing I don't think, there's so many things we don't control. Right. I would almost venture to say we control nothing. I think we work really hard at controlling how we're going to feel about things. Yeah. And that reminds us that you're not controlling that at all.
No. And everybody kept saying, like right after, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, oh, I wasn't fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. But then I'm like, yeah, I'm not fine.
No, none of us really are. No.
But it just got me how it was so delayed. And then I started thinking about like, what other losses have I had that really have hit me, and I just, it was very telling to me. So one of the other losses that I had experienced was my soulmate friend, Dawn, and I, we've been friends for a long time. And we had a third person that was in our little friend group, the little three musketeers of us. And his name was Ron. And he tragically passed away. And sadly, we weren't told about him passing until it was a couple months afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. And talk about dysfunction. There's a lot of dysfunction in that story. But he was another one that is one that I will still get teary-eyed about. Like, and what's weird is I've been finding that I've been having a lot of dreams lately where like now I'm at that stage where like my mom's coming to me in my dreams. And the other night, our friend Ron came to me in a dream and he brought me flowers. And so now it's like I'm just realizing that it's just part of this grief stage is that I'm finally feeling these emotions. And so in my dream state, I'm like trying to heal myself with these good thoughts in my dreams and, seeing these people in my dreams and stuff. But yeah, it's grief. It's like an onion.
That's interesting. You bring that up, that you're in your dream state, that your mind is trying to help you.
Yes. You
or
think that's
are
weird?
You asking for help? help. And it's, well, no, I don't think it's weird. I guess, if anything, that puts that whole idea of having dreams of people who've passed on in a different light for me that I never thought of, because I do know that people will say they dream of family members or close friends who have passed away. And I think they really try, and maybe you do this, they try to make it almost as if they're trying to communicate with you. So they're actually trying to say that these people who have passed on are actually trying to communicate with you, which I know some people feel more strongly that they believe in that more than I do. I've been honest about that. Just because I just don't feel.
That kind of goes back to our ghost episode and stuff about, do you believe in that afterlife and everything like that, right?
Right. But I like how you put it, where you were trying to, that you were fully responsible for what you were trying to do for yourself. And that was to heal yourself. And even though you weren't forcing yourself, you can't do that, but your subconscious or whatever that works with us during dreams and stuff was trying to help you function again and put it in a good place. So actually, I kind of, that's like a whole new way of looking at it that I never thought to look at it. So that's actually pretty cool. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
My dream state, not to go crazy about this because it'll turn into a whole other episode with that whole thing. And we're supposed to really just deal with grief, but talking about people you've lost. For some reason, I feel like when I do have a dream about somebody who maybe passed away, family member, and it would just be a family member. I haven't really had any dreams of anyone who wasn't family that passed away, but it's weird because for some reason my mind takes it to some weird place, and I seem to really remember when I wake up and sort of reflect on these dreams. The person in my dream who's deceased either never speaks to me.
Okay.
Like you never hear their voice.
You know that they're there and part of the...
They're there somehow, but there's never any communication from them.
Right.
And maybe you're trying to talk to them and they're not responding. Or it's almost as if their back is always turned, like you never see their face.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So
I read somewhere, or maybe it was on a TV show or something, I don't know, but about like in your dreams, if something's written, like you can't read in your dreams. And I'm like, that can't be true because I see things all the time. In fact, in this dream that I had about my friend, he sent these flowers and there was a card, and I was reading on the card that, that they were from him. But in my dream, I knew he would passed away, but he had somebody living give me this card and that it was from him. But I was able to read. So when you dream, how vivid do you dream? Like if something is in writing, can you read it? Or do you dream in color?
Well, the color I think I take for granted. I know they say you don't dream in color, or maybe some people say that, but I think just, you ever see where they try to do that thing where they'll show you a picture that's not complete? And your brain
fills it in. Oh, okay.
I almost feel like with that kind of thing where they say, well, you don't really dream in color, but you're like, well, I remember my dream and it was color.
Oh,
that maybe your mind just does it for you after the fact.
There's definitely color in my dreams.
Yeah, I can't say my dreams are that vivid that I could tell you for sure it was in color.
But do you ever remember reading in your dreams? I don't.
Well, because I hate reading in general.
Are you watching TV with subtitles on the movies in your dream?
You know what? You would think that if I was dreaming, it would be dreaming about like a TV show or a movie, or watching a TV show or movie.
Cartoons.
But I don't even remember seeing a TV in my dreams. That's terrible.
Chrisy.
Wow. I would grieve the loss of my television too.
See?
As well as family members. I'm going to grieve the fact that my dreams have no TV in them. That's terrible. So,
and I think that what your point of that, sometimes we grieve things, it doesn't have to be the loss of a person. It's a time in our life is coming to a close. So like, I remember when Jim was diagnosed with cancer and we went through that, I just kept thinking like, I just can't wait to get our life back. And I can't wait to get our life back. And it was probably the second year in that it finally hit me that we're never getting that life back. We will get a new life. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be great. It's just what we had pre-cancer, that will never come back.
Right.
Life as we know it is always going to be now what life is post-cancer. We will always have to deal with things that because of the cancer. I remember going through that grieving process. And I think a little part of me on top of, mom's passing, This is a big turning point. My husband and I moved here from Las Vegas. We moved back here. And the point was to take care of my parents. Mm-hmm. And our job is done now.
Right.
Now we're getting ready to what are we going to do now? So we are making these plans for what we're going to do now. But that also includes the fact that, we're both getting older. Mm-hmm. As we talked about in August, that Jim had his 60th birthday. Mm-hmm. So we are entering this new era of life. And okay, how is life going to look? And I think that there's a part of me right now that is also grieving that there certain things are ending for us.
Right.
Although I'm very excited about our future, I am sad about what's ending.
Right.
That we aren't the young kids that we were when we met, and that we aren't able to do as things and that we didn't enjoy before, that now they're limited. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of reality of that. And I think that's why I have struggled so much in the past couple months with being depressed, and that is not my nature. So it makes it even harder for me because I get on myself that, it's like I'm not allowed to feel that. And so I have to give myself some grace and go, no, it's okay. You can grieve.
Right.
But it's a lot, like I said before, a lot of layers to that onion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When my father passed away, there's a part of what was going on in my life that I feel very fortunate to have had a distraction through that process. My father's illness and death happened fairly quickly and was not expected. But I had just found out shortly after he found out what he was dealing with that I was pregnant with my first child. And I was hoping that him knowing that, because I saw my father just not fighting like I had expected him to fight. But I think just demonstrated to what level his illness was there. But he knew I was going to have a baby. And what's funny is he said it was going to be a girl.
Aw.
Not that I'm not trying to say, he was able to predict that, but for whatever reason he felt that. And so having my daughter going through that pregnancy and the excitement of that, it didn't erase my father and that loss, but it definitely helped not allow me to spend a lot of time in that grief.
Yeah.
And then just the whole process of having a baby for the first time and all that new stuff. It was, not that I go out and say, well, if somebody close to you is passing away, maybe have a baby and it will help. It's just the way it worked out for us. Right. That was the timeline we had. And I am grateful. And I always say she's like the greatest gift I ever got. All my kids are wonderful gifts, of course. But that really helped because I did basically identify myself a lot with that family dynamic that was there. Yeah. And when he passed, it was never the same. No. I know some people want to fight really hard to try and keep it that way, but when there's that absence, it just doesn't happen.
Right. So. Yes. And I think that's where I'm kind of really grateful that, if you can be grateful, I don't want that to sound weird, but, Mom passed right after Easter, like 2 days after Easter. And for, that was kind of like the end of the holiday season. You know what I mean? So now we'll have all this time before September. November, when the holidays start back up again. And the holidays were always big with my mom. Mm-hmm. And so I'm kind of really grateful because I don't know, I would have been really hard if she would have passed like right in the holiday season, or I'm glad there's been some separation because I know the holidays are going to be hard, but I can't imagine, if you lose a loved one right in the thick of an important season, and maybe for some families, maybe that is the summertime, or maybe it's around a birthday or there's something else. But for us, especially, the holidays would have been hard. So yeah, but talk about being smacked in the face. That was,
well, it takes you by surprise once you could really basically define what you're feeling and understand. Like when that hit me, I never experienced anything. And it's weird because it was really just a brief moment. Yeah. Considering all the moments you've had at this point in your life. But it stuck with me because prior to that, I don't remember ever being that affected by an emotion. Yeah. like that before,
Yep.
where I didn't. Usually, if you're upset or you're sad, it builds.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever felt anything just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And hit.
Yeah.
And I had like no control over
Yeah.
that grief that hit me. Probably like what
Yeah.
you all of a sudden didn't expect it, and it
Nope.
just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, 100%. And we talk about losing a person, but sometimes losing an animal can be just as bad.
Oh gosh.
So I've had a lot of pets. I mean, obviously I've been surrounded by animals my entire life and everything, but there are a few pets that cause major grief. And I wrote in our show notes the loss of Mr. Banks, because that one, Mr. Banks was a pony that I had not too long ago. I think it was like 2018 that I got him. He was just the best little pony. He was great. You could do anything. Anybody could ride. He was great. And he suddenly got very sick and passed away, like, must have been maybe 2021.
Mhm.
And I feel like I grieved as hard over that. And I know people can probably think this is crazy, but as I have been feeling for my mom. And I mean, it struck me hard.
Right.
And, I knew we were going to be recording today, but what was funny is we were on a short road trip yesterday, taking my sister-in-law back to the airport. And somehow or another, we got to talking about the horses that I've had and everything. And Mr. Banks came up, and it was the same thing. Hit me like a ton of bricks. I started bawling right there in the car, just at the thought of him.
Right.
And I mean, even now, like I can feel it in the back of my throat. And it's not like the other animals weren't as important or whatever, but there was just something really special about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's weird how grief can and hit you over different things, whether it's the loss of a family member, a spouse, a time of your life, a certain period of your life, an animal, a pet, a friend, and then there's also the anger that goes all with it. And
Yeah.
I didn't think I would have anger over my mom's death. And I realized, well, my anger isn't at necessarily my mom or her death. My anger is at the events that I'm having to deal with that surrounded this whole situation. The things I had to deal with family or situations that, because of all that, the anger of it, the anger that I have to deal with this. And it gets you. And I definitely know about anger. So.
Who, me?
Chrisy had a little anger episode, but yeah, so you get what I'm saying. There's a whole anger that goes alongside with the grief, and that just kind of the juxtaposition of the two emotions. It's so hard.
I'm wondering if this is a question to ask, and maybe I can be really off because I am not at all a counselor or proposed to have any background in this. But when you bring up anger, it's an interesting thing, and it goes hand in hand, I do believe, with the grieving process.
Yes.
It's on like the list of the stages of grief.
DJ Nick, you should look up the stages of grief.
He's very familiar with it.
It's the first stage.
Is it really?
Anger, I think.
What's the next one?
You have to quiz me.
You mean it's like the commandments where they all have designated numbers and it doesn't have deviate? Cool.
Grief, number one. And
grief
only
is-
number one.
Well,
I feel like
he said it's anger. You usually get angry first, probably at the fact that the person left you. Is that where you're connecting that? Because what I was going to say while you're looking up that list is when you do experience that anger in your grieving process, are you angry at the person who you lost or the time of your life that is now behind you, the loss of whatever? Are you angry at the actual person or event or part of your life, or are you angry at the people who make that experience more complicated?
yes.
So I'm thinking the stages of dying.
Oh, okay.
So, which Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did all that. She was the first one to really put it. And so denial is the first one.
Okay.
And then anger is the second stage of dying.
Okay, but
that's
what are
the
the
person who's actually...
But what are the
experiencing
stages
it.
of grief?
Is there a list of stages of grief to some extent? Because I think even though those are the stages of dying, that the loved one...
They actually use them
interchangeably?
I think that the person who is close to the person experiencing that.
Yeah, and then bargaining is 3, where you will bargain for more time. And then depression, and then there's acceptance. You finally accepting, that you're going to die, or
of someone that you've lost.
Or something you've lost that you finally accept the fact that that this is not something that you can sit around and dwell on and wish that where you're doing the bargaining and you can sit there and be angry about it. Yeah. You have to sort of say.
I'm sure people don't go through it mutually exclusive. Yeah. No, I'm in stage 3 now.
Check that box, stage 1. Done. Check that box, stage 2. I am now in stage 3.
But but the anger thing, I do wonder if it gets displaced on the person that you've lost, or the time of the expectation of what you've lost is gone. Is it with that specifically? But the anger is there, and maybe you just don't understand where it needs to basically be directed to.
Right. And that's displaced is a good one, because that is something that I've been starting to be more aware of, because there's things that I've been angry about. And I definitely know that I've been scapegoating, because I'll catch myself maybe snapping about something or being upset about something. And then I realize, oh, that wasn't fair, because I'm not really mad at that person. I'm just mad inside. And it's just coming out either in extremely foul language or, I might be short in how I answer somebody, and it's not meant to be short at that person. It's just in my mind, there's this whole nother Rolodex of conversations going on, and that comes out, my answer to, do you want me to start the laundry? Oh, yes, but no, but it's really not the laundry. It's the internal monologue in my head of
that you've probably been battling with. Yes. And nobody, person that you're around doesn't hear or see that. Right. But you're exhausted with it because you've been thinking about it for a very lengthy period of time.
100%. So it's been kind of a little bit of a bummer of a summer, because I've been dealing with all that. But that's the one thing I'm looking for. I feel like I'm maybe at the light. I feel like I'm on the upswing now. So,
well, the one thing I have to say, and I probably, again, given some credit to my father, remembering what he may have experienced. And I don't know, I don't want to knock it up to be that he was a man and he dealt with his emotions differently than, say, my mother or anyone else. And I fail at this a lot in parenting in general. Not that I feel like I'm a failed parent, but I do recognize my flaws. And you do compare yourself sometimes to your own parents. Yeah. The one thing that comes up a lot that we talk about, and my husband does it too, we don't remember our parents letting things on as much as we do.
Right.
Like, I would not have been aware of those type of emotions from my parents, with their they've lost parents.
Right.
I mean, my father made certain things known. He was, his parents were divorced. So his feelings, he's definitely closer with one of his parents more than the other. You didn't see that in them.
You're right.
I feel bad because I feel like I should be better in that way to sort of basically protect my daughter from seeing the messiness of it.
It is messy.
And you don't want them to, because it does affect them. And you feel guilty about it.
That is a really good point. I never thought about that until you were just saying. But, my mom's parents were passed away before I was born. Mm-hmm. So I never saw my mom go through that. I mean, I saw what my mom dealt with, knowing that she lost her mother at a very young age. Mm-hmm. But I didn't, I wasn't there for the process, you know. And in my grandfather passed away. I'm not sure if I was born or if I was just really young, because I don't really have any memories of him. So his mother, she passed away when I was in either late high school or early college. I remember that at one point while she was passing, like while she was in her final days, I must have said something, and my mom said to me, your dad, it was something like, give your dad a little break. He's losing his mother. Mm-hmm. And I always remember her saying that to me, and I never thought about like my dad's losing his mom. But but what you just said, I never really thought about like learning or seeing from them, because out of 4, I only saw one, and I didn't have a good relationship with that one.
Obviously, I was just going to say, you were probably thinking, finally I will be free of any opportunities to have a second or third degree burns on my body.
Or getting being forced to drive a car while she's drunk and I'm 12. You know, so
I can see how you probably didn't quite understand what that grief was about.
I didn't understand that. And I did until you just said what you were saying. I didn't make that connection. But yeah, so I kind of feel bad that I didn't give my dad more grace now because he was losing his mom.
No.
Yeah.
It's what you need to not look at it that way, that you didn't give him that. What you need to do is, and you're recognizing it now, the fact that you're able to say that they were able to compartmentalize that so well that it didn't even really make you realize or feel that there was any reason to act differently.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So don't think of it as a flaw in you. Maybe give them a little credit for the fact that they let you kind of continue to feel the way you did.
Yeah, that's true. So anyways, there's grief. What's for dinner?
Grief. Yay.
Alrighty.
Everybody needs to go and get an ice cream sundae now. Make yourself feel better. Or maybe some hot dogs and ice cream.
And if you're on a diet, add a hot dog to it.
Yes, that always made me feel better.
But all right. Well, hey, please be sure to check out our Facebook page. And maybe if you need to share, you know, if it'll help you to share some of your grief, what's for dinner kind of stories, please feel free to share. But put on our Facebook page. You can email us. But yeah, check out our new website, dysfunctionjunkiespodcast.com. And also don't forget, September, we are supporting Canine for Companions with our Junkies Care initiative. We will be at the Dog Fest in New Albany, Ohio for Canine Companions on September 21st at 1:00. And you can learn all about that on our website. But,
yes.
All
please
right.
donate.
Yes, donate to that. And we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.